from Hollywood. Thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully you can have some fun with this question. In the second season, we really explore his intimacy issues and his fascination with porn. So I was wondering, since you wrote this and it's named after you, how do you handle the blurred lines of others' maybe perceptions that this might be you?
I think in many ways it's something that a lot of people experience, and so like I don't think it's like particularly unique to me. I think there's a lot in season 2 where it's pretty clear that it's fiction in terms of where a lot of the story goes, and so for me the main thing was creating a real problem for the character so that we could kind of watch him overcome it, and we could really or try to overcome it. And so in terms of people thinking like, oh wait, that this is my life straight up, my issue straight up, that that's the cost of doing business. I mean, it's gonna, some people are gonna see what we're doing as a show, other people are gonna think it's real. It's okay.
Congratulations on your Golden Globe a win. Where do you keep your statue?
My mom has it. Yeah, I gave it to her right away right when I got to New York. I dropped it off at the house in Jersey.
One of the scenes that I loved about this recent series is when you meet your family and the expectations on both sides are so disappointing. And I thought so often we meet people and build them up in our minds and they're not what you expect. So for you, now that the world has discovered you, have you had some really weird fan encounters, or on the other side, met a star that has just blown you away or intimidated you?
No, it's really interesting. Like, I mean, I think like expectations is a really interesting question. And I think that like there's an interesting expectation even from an audience, right? Like for me making a show that's about an Arab Muslim family, where I think that for some people who are Arab and Muslim, they expect a certain thing, and I see the gaps in kind of what they wanted versus what they got. I found that to be a really interesting discourse, not even in a bad way. It's actually kind of interesting to see like why we need more shows that are specific, because I think the idea that one show would do everything is kind of ridiculous. And if you think about like a white family, how many shows are there about a white family? There's so many. I mean, there's like, you would never say the white show, you know what I mean? But people do say the Muslim show. And so I think like with fans and stuff, it's been some of that, some of seeing like, that they kind of want the show to look more like their own life, even though it's called Ramy. But then there's been people who like have walked up to me crying and been like, I've always wanted to see myself on screen, and thank you for showing me that. And to feel that from other Arab Muslims is amazing, but also to feel it from people who aren't. Like I had a guy come up to me and be like, "Dude, reminds me of Jamaicans," like, and so to feel that kind of connection has been really cool.
It actually reminds me of me, and I'm a white woman, so there you go.
Yeah.
What are you doing during COVID? How are you managing?
I've been finishing the show. So it's been really intense actually, because we have much less resources. You can't go in. So I'm kind of like building like my little studio in my room. I'm doing voiceovers and I'm fixing audio and communicating with editors, and I'm on like a gap between New York and LA. I'm in LA. So I'm up at like 6 a.m. for when they start at 9. And so, it's been definitely very challenging and busy, but I'm thankful to be busy than to not be busy. But it's really, it makes you appreciate, people.
You've also gone into very tricky subjects. Um, you know, uh, the mother isn't seen as an individual. You have gender issues, religious discussions. What does your writing room look like? How do you decide what to highlight?
Yeah, we're it's the writing room is really fun. I mean, like I think we've had a variety of writers over 2 seasons now. We had a smaller room first season, second season was a bigger room. And I kind of like creating a recipe of people who, I mean, I think this year half the room was Muslim, the other half wasn't. And it was interesting because I kind of like the discourse that happens between people who know and then people who don't, because it's kind of like as you're explaining and talking and interrogating, I find like more interesting things can come out sometimes, as opposed to like everyone being the same thing. Then like there's something nice about like, oh, you don't get this concept, and like in kind of talking about it, it's a nice blend of being able to be intimate with people who get it and then people who didn't live it but are really good question askers. And so I like my show to feel like an interrogation of my characters, and I like my writer's room to feel interrogative, so that it's like kind of everyone's kind of, you know, going at it in that way. And then anything we're talking about where the person directly isn't represented in the room, we're a show that heavily uses, you know, consultants and advisors who can kind of come in and like, you know, we want to talk to them, you know, like in the second season we have an experience, you know, with a gay Muslim character. That person wasn't in the room, but we brought in someone who's a very dear friend of mine who, you know, watched the cuts and read the scripts and talked to us for a long time, and so that was really, you know, it's really important for us.
Lovely. I love the show. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.